Hi and welcome to the latest game testing session of the Imperials by epicwargaming.com. Right then, basically I thought I'd start on this picture today because it's a nice big picture of the big melee combat between the Orcs and the Imperial Elves, which is coming up in the game test you're about to watch. But also this week I down tools work on the dragon basically and put it off. Two reasons. One, I've got a raft of new rules to be added to the movement section, and I got an email off a very nice guy called Trevor who basically suggested some new forms of movement, and that was really a catalyst for me to sort of bite the bullet and add about 2 more pages to the rulebook or to the movement section. And the reason why I was putting it off is because I'd have to re-page everything and then re-reference everything in all the other books, and I wasn't looking forward to that, but I've done it now, and it's a good thing because now I've got it out of the way, because I've got a lot of new rules off my chest added into the movement section, which should make the game more fluid, more realistic, and should give the gamer more options of what they can actually do on the gaming board when they get a bit stuck like this here. This is a new move called it's called split turning. If you've got a column unit, pivoting them is just not realistic. Furthermore, it's impossible as well with some situations that columns might find themselves in. So this column is coming over a bridge, it wants to turn, it can't turn using pivoting, because it would hit here obviously, so it's split basically. And under the new rules it can do that. Another new rule I've added, amongst other new rules, is reinforcing. I don't have time to go straight into it with you because I've only got 15 minutes, but you can generally see you've got a unit there of goblins, got a fresh unit there. This is called reinforcing, by the way. It joins that unit, becomes one unit. By the way, it's not as simple as I'm making it out. There is a lot of rules on top of this really, and basically they take over and stop that unit from buckling. So yeah, but all these new rules, they don't slow down gameplay because they hardly ever come up in play, or you hardly ever want to use them in play. All the current rules work absolutely fine, to be quite honest with you, and these new rules are just there to give the gamer more options, make it more realistic, and just to help them out in more difficult situations about. And if you're watching this, Trevor, don't worry, I've got the splitting rule in there as well, but you won't be able to merge two different units together. Basically, they've got to be the same unit which split for them to remerge together. Anyway, so they're the things we're looking at today. We're also looking at the disc thrower, but I've shown you a picture of that every single week. So if you want to see how the disc thrower works, go to an early game testing session. Right then, I'm playing today, and we use the random terrain generator as we always do. I am over here, Trish is over here. Trish is playing an Orc army, by the way, 3,000 points. I'm playing the Elves, obviously, at 3,000 points. This is what it looks like, quite drab today, to be perfectly honest with you, quite a flat board. Very good for the Orcs, because they don't generally want anything to get in the way, they just want to storm up, as Orcs generally do. I just want to stand back and shoot him with what little firepower I have. I don't have that much firepower. It looks quite good for me on the face of it because I've got those helms over there in a brilliant flanking position already. But anyway, we'll have to see how the game pans out. Let's talk about what I've got. You can see my archers there, which zoom in. I've got 2 units of watch, enforcers. There's a nice new piece for you to look at. Yeah, he's a knight, an Imperial knight. He's my battle standard guy. I've got my Solus there, very nice models. I've got my disc thrower over here, played by an Alancian bolt thrower. Got a new model there. He's another knight on a unicorn. Yeah, and I've got my general is a sorceress today. First generation sorceress. Oh no, second generation sorceress. It was actually a princess. And I've got a lesser sorceress as well, so I've got 2 wizards. If we go over to the Orc side, they've got the Iron Maiden. She's obviously the general. He's got 2 hags, which gives him, he outnumbers my wizard, so he's got magic superiority, which is not good for me. He's got a nasty unit of trolls there, very good at trolls. He's got an evil unit of saws there, round his Iron Maiden, very tough unit there. And he's got a unit of grunt spearmen there, I think he's planning on fighting my Helms with. And that's it. And he's got another unit you just can't see, which are on the left of those trolls, which is another unit of spearmen as well. Right then, in his first turn, oh, he's also got assassin as well, before I forget to mention. And as you can see, he's generally just moved forward. Everything he's got is moved forward. He's got his run over there ready to use, so he's obviously hiding in a unit waiting for me. But the main thing he does in this turn, he does that to my disc thrower. He blasts it with Kraken Reality and kills my disc thrower in one turn. So I'm not going to not in this game. I'm not going to have a chance to game test it. I'm just going to have to get the board out one night, get a load of figures out, and game test it that way, because it keeps getting killed. It's been killed now for the last 2 game tests. Yeah, that's the big thing that happened in the first turn. My first turn, in retaliation, my sorceress scoots up to the front and casts Tumbling Skies here, which comes crashing down. Doesn't affect the hag, because she's immune to magic, but look, it kills Trish's Battleland Assassin, which is really good for me, because she had the Eye of Death on my general, she had the Hammer of Destruction, cancels out my saves, and she had the Potion of Flight. She was geared up to assassinate my general. I didn't even know this, by the way. Trish told me after I killed it, and he was gutted, because that just finished off his dastardly plan in its tracks before it even had a chance to work. So, haha, there. Sorry, Trish. Anyway, moving on. The other main thing I do, I move my helms in. It looks really, you don't need to have great generalship skills to know that this looks like quite a good position for me, because I'm just moving into his flank there. But Trish being Trish, he just moves forward as a good grunt army should do. What he could do there, he could use a new rule, splitting units, and actually split them to actually face the helms coming in, and actually move the rest of the spearmen down in like a little mini column to take on these guys. You know, that would have really helped him. But anyway, he didn't, so he's now just moving forward. These archers are doing quite well. They're picking off the beastmasters in that unit, trying to turn them wild, but it didn't work, unfortunately. Now, in my turn, I should have charged them, but I didn't, because that hag there cast senselessness on them, which made them immune to breaking. So I thought I would hold them off for one more turn and make sure that I dispelled that. But anyway, on with the game. And this, look at this here. Again, he could have split his unit here. That would have been quite good for him. And then moved it off. But what he's done with the Orcs instead, these spearmen, he's now turned them to face me. What I should have done in my last turn is charged him and got the soft infantry bonus and done loads of damage to this unit, but I didn't. I waited, and it basically reacted to me moving in there. He's now turned them, so I've lost the soft infantry bonus, so these guys are going to take damage when they charge in. These guys should have got in next turn, but my sorcerers kept casting slow on them, which is a new base magic spell out with the next update. Look at my sorceress. The reason why I did charge these guys in, even though they wouldn't have been able to beat this unit on their own, is because I had the sorceress there. She is my general, by the way, so this is a bit risky for me. But she's got a new spell called Explosion. And as it sounds, she just explodes all the time. And everything that's in the radius, you'll see it work in a minute anyway. Come back to that later on. So these guys are just slowly moving in with those archers. Look at the damage done there from Explosion. You'll actually see the template in the next few slides. These guys have now charged in those spearmen there against those archers. But they hold, because of the battle mana and because of that sorceress there, holding those archers together, thankfully for me. Now look at this, she's now snuck in there, right between there, and look what she's done. Exploded again on them orcs, and because she's in 3 inches of a unit, she can't actually be picked off by magic or missile fire. She can be charged though, but there's nothing round there which is going to take her on. She's exploded on them orcs. She does colossal amounts of damage, bang, look at that, half the unit gone. That's on top of these guys as well. So this unit has had it now. It's now buckling. It's out of 8 inches of the general, so there's nothing holding that unit together anymore. These archers are holding on because of the battle standard, because of that sorceress. They're holding them together, but they're doomed eventually because they're getting very close to buckling. Now those archers have now buckled. Those soulless which you saw just didn't hold, obviously, because they're soulless. The trolls have now charged in, but these guys here, now these guys didn't get to fight because they've already fought and they've charged into, so they're going to have to wait one extra turn, which is my turn, and I'm going to charge these guys into the side of them, and we're going to see what happens next. Yep, they basically moved over the spearmen because they ran off. They basically overran, and now I could have charged them in, but they were knackered, absolutely knackered. So what I did do is I just rested them for one whole turn, and they got their movement back. The archers are finally broken, but they did their job and they did really well. They held up these guys. They don't have to beat a unit to actually do well in a game. Sometimes if a unit just holds up an enemy unit for a couple of turns, you've basically taken that unit out for 2 turns or for the rest of the game. So they've done their job, those archers, but they're lost. Yet the trolls are doing quite well against these guys here. These guys really need to be armed with halberds to actually kill the trolls. They're armed with spears though, unfortunately. Now he's now free to move these runts here to try and protect her back, because Trish knows if these guys get into the back of her, that's it, it's game over. So basically this, I think this is Trish's turn. Stalemate here, both sides are fighting each other to a standstill. Got all the poison building up. Bang, I've charged my helms in. These guys got hit, so they're now in combat. But I've managed to hit the, what have you, the Iron Maiden there. And this is it really, and this, we're going back to the picture at the start, and this is where the picture comes from. Now, the big deciding factor in this combat is one, that these guys here have been hit from behind, but the other factor is that the saws have run out of endurance. They are absolutely tired out now. They've been fighting round after round. They've got great weapons, which basically takes 1 off endurance. So they didn't start off with 5 rounds of endurance, started off with 4. They've already dashed. They're knackered, absolutely tired out in combat. Whilst all my other, units are quite fresh. And that was the deciding factor of that combat, and that's why she broke, ran away, got overrun by these guys, the enforcers, and that's game over for Tristan. These guys here, he did hold on a few extra rounds, hopefully, well, wanting to break these guys because these guys are buckling. But I've got a hero there, I've got the battle standard there, I've got my general there. That's what's that? That's -6 battle stress. They're not going to break. They didn't break basically. They just held in there. These guys came up from behind and then just broke them, and they were overrun by the helms. Trish only has 1 piece left now, and it's a hag stuck in combat with my general. But my general can't do anything because the hag is immune to magic. So there's nothing what can be done there. But unfortunately, the hag suffers 4 battle stress because, or more battle stress because of the death of the general, and she's cowardly, so she runs off basically in terror. Look where she is now. There she is, running away, but she's right in the path of these guys here. And what happens the next turn is she's just marched over, and that's game over for Trish, I'm afraid. Sorry Trish, these are the scores. Whilst you're looking at them, I'll just talk about the actual game test. It wasn't a brilliant game test because, one, we didn't see any of the new rules come up, but like I said before, the new rules are really to give the gamer more depth to the game, more options, but they won't come up very often in the actual game, but they're there just in case you want to use them. Secondly, the disc thrower didn't really have a fair crack of the whip because it was killed in its first turn. It didn't even have a chance to fire, so I'll have to get the board out one night. and just basically set up a few units and just playtest it myself to give it a fair crack, see how much damage it does and what it should be like and this, that and the other. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that today. I really enjoyed the last game test, and have a really good day yourselves. Alright, take care, bye bye.